Welcome to Support Life, a program focusing on current social issues from a life-affirming perspective. My name is Gavin Baulch, and my guest today is Kevin Sayers, an ex-electrical and power technician. Hello, Kevin.
How are you going, Gavin? Thanks for having me on.
Now, for those that are sort of playing catch-up, this is our third in the trilogy of numbers, deep meanings. We have looked at the shape of the universe, and now we're coming back home. Just run us through some of these numbers and figures that you've got on the board behind us.
Yeah, sure. I've put a few extra things on there, but should better run through a bit quicker this time. When I was interested in really what goes on in the universe and all that type of thing, and I must admit I got a lot of this stuff before I became a Christian and that, and not too fairly recently, about 40 years ago, I really started realising a lot of these things. But not too fairly recently, I realised how significant the numbers are, and the analogies with spiritual analogies. And basically, you'll see a lot of mathematical forms. You'll always see G. Some people call it big G because it holds the whole universe together. They call it universal gravitational constant. And there's a typical formula to get it in. Two bodies attract, like the moon and the earth or the sun. And I realised that big G is like, it's analogous to God. He holds the whole universe together. And then you would come around the triangle there, like as I said, spiritual analogies. You've got C for Christ. Now C is used for the speed of light, and one of the most illuminates all life on the earth is more or less got through that. You get particular formulas like E equals MC squared and numerous others, which people will be familiar with. And you get H is probably not generally known, and that's H is, they actually call it Planck's constant, but paradoxically it's nothing to do with even Planck's constant letters in there. You get H for the Holy Spirit, and that's to do with the innermost things to do with atoms and all that, such as to work out a frequency you get out of atoms, you get E equals HF. That's H by the frequency it gives off. And then we go down there and we get, by recombining these constants and all that, I might just mention the chances for this occurring with the spiritual analogies. They call it factorial, like it's 1 in 26 for getting G in the right meaning what it says. But you multiply all those numbers together, and particularly got a choice of big G and small g, you get 30,000 combinations. When I discovered it, I was just amazed with the spiritual analogies with it. And some of these units down there, you get like G, C, H, are just the numbers, magnitude, you want to understand what they are. And sometimes you get big numbers that are very hard to understand. Like 123 million, science would write out as 1.23 E8, and more or less how many zeros are after it. But you get incredibly large magnitudes of numbers. They can't express them as normal. And then if you recombine these, and we bring all these GHC together as a combination, you get a universal energy. I call it E universal energy. And this is what a formula is involved in the three constants up there. And you get energy, as I said, and you get mass, and you get length. And these, I'll be honest, these are called, they have discovered these, Planck discovered this, and they call them Planck's constant. But I did independently discover this, but not to worry, that's happened to me a lot of the time. And then, but when you put certain things over, you put energy over mass here, you get the proportions for the maximum, like C squared, and that there's the maximum energy you can get in mass, which is E equals MC squared. You don't need any highfalutin formulas to do this, and things like this. Now, I realise there's only one maximum that's generally accepted, which is the speed of light. And but I must admit, I started thinking down there, so maybe there are other maximums which regulate the universe. And then I quickly discovered you can get others. Now, I don't see this on screen. You get like C to the fifth on Hg squared. Now, C to the fifth means the velocity of light multiplied by itself 5 times. So you get incredibly astronomical numbers, like that's 7.38 with 112 figures after it. Just blow you out of the room. And you get various ones there, like the maximum pressure. That's got 112 figures after it. And you get, here's another big one, C to the 8th on Hg squared. That's got 121. and get these things. And I believe these things regulate the universe. And from understanding all these concepts and knowing the maximum, when certain phenomena occur, not just the speed of light, you can only have a certain maximum density, you can only have a certain maximum pressure. When that occurs, other phenomena have to occur. And you go from that. But actually, you go a bit further, you can actually understand the, for argument's sake, that you understand that you start to realise that you're getting something out of nothing. Now, God said in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, He created for nothing. And a lot of scientists believe there's a thermodynamic law, you can't have any more than you had before. But if you go up here, like mass energy out of nothing, even mathematics gives you a hint. You've got 1 plus x to 1 on delta x. So as delta x gets closer to 0, and you raise it the same inverted power, it goes closer and closer to E, and it can get 170%. And another phenomenon you get in mathematics is where you take the integral of nothing, you get, say, 1, and keep taking the integral, you get a factorial, and that approaches E. And so mathematics gives a hint you can get things from nothing. But to understand this, you got Einstein's relativity formulas up there. Mass goes up as you go towards the speed of light, and time actually goes down, but they go up and down with the same proportion. But you can manipulate out of that, as you can see, a formula m0 t0, which equals m1 t1. This is very profound because it means to say that you can create matter out of nothing, because there's nothing to do with velocity in this case. Because if you take a mass up on top of a mountain or something like that, it's a known fact that the atomic time actually goes slower. But I'm saying the mass will equally go down as the time goes the opposite way. And you get these formula m0 t0 equals m1 t1. Now this is contrary to thermodynamic laws, which says you can't create anything out of nothing. Now in space they know about black holes, and you can get objects that approach each other on the large universe scale, other universe approaching another one, even specific mass. They can approach each other because certain things can't be exceeded, like the density and things like that. It actually squeezes like plasticine, and as it squeezes, the density goes up, it squeezes out, and the velocities towards the end go up towards the speed of light. And
let's squeeze out some time.
Yeah, okay.
You've been watching Support Life, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Gavin Baulch, and my guest is Kevin Sayers. Kevin, we were kind of squeezing something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And just sum up that point there. How do we do that?
Well, it's like Archimedes said that give me a fulcrum and I'll shift the world. And the same analogy occurs on this m0 t0 equaling m1 t1, that to get more mass, time dilates, but anything in that system doesn't know anything. You can get this even in atoms and neutrinos. When there's the thing you're looking for, spending billions of dollars, there's an apparent loss of mass that I don't understand, but when atoms break up, they've got incredible high energy tie-up, which actually increases the mass above its realistic figure. I believe it's an elusive thing, that they don't even exist. But if people can understand this, it gives a completely different understanding. Like, it breaks the thermodynamic laws. It shows that God, using all these laws, can create something out of nothing. And for want of a knowledge, what was I? 70 years at 8, 10, I was literally nothing. And yet I was born, and you've got this incredible potential. I'm not egotistical to myself. Anybody's got incredible potential. And God's created us all differently. We find out that DNA is different to everybody. Every snowflake is different, and it's just amazing. And, as I mentioned, I come from the home, so I was there for 12 odd years. From a little baby, I was taken away from my mum at 3 months. And I'm still thankful this day she could have aborted me. And I believe, when children die, they go up to heaven, but they're looking down and say, gee, I'd love to have done this for God. How much he loves me and all this. Here I am, a free agent, and I glorify God, Daddy, and I thank my mother for sparing me.
Yes.
And I've got 3 children. Girl hit the jackpot with a boy, and now we've got 4 granddaughters, and I just praise God. You witness all these things and all the different characters, all these blessings you get, and I think it's just absolutely amazing.
Well, equally amazing is what science has done by looking at the G and the H and the C. They've just added these letters in almost unwittingly, unknowingly, to help us understand the existence of God. We've touched on creating something out of nothing, about how we began ever so infinitely small, just like atoms. And here we are, both of us. I'm hitting that wonderful number, a 7 with 1 number after it, just 1 single 0.
You tell your grandchildren 1 7, they don't know the difference.
No, they don't. 1 7. So again, numbers and figures and letters have profound and intricate meanings in them. What do you say to others that are interested in numbers and formulas? And
yeah, I've thought about that a bit, and you did kind of ask me to share where I felt God is in my life, and I must admit that I try to be, you can cliche the thing and just say things that people want to hear, and I said to myself, I don't necessarily fit that thing where I've had, like Saul at that time, you changed his name to Paul, got that vision, and people say they have visions, and in their dreams God reveals them. I can't really say that's actually happened to me, but looking around and realise there is a God, and suddenly my eyes opened up when doubting Thomas, when he said, look, unless I see Christ who supposedly risen, which he didn't believe, put my hands in his holes in the hand and put my fist through the side of his body, I will not believe. And then when he saw Christ, he fell down and he said, my Lord, my God. And Jesus made that profound statement. It really helps me to hang in there, and I think other Christians need to. We hear all about these experiences people have as Christians and enlightenments and all this type of thing. Oh, it doesn't happen to me. But Jesus said, how much more blessed are those who haven't seen and believe? And I think it's an incredible, strong verse in the Bible. And I just hang on to that, because probably most of us Christians don't get these supernatural experiences. But, you know, I've seen God in my life, because it says, you endeavour to keep his commandments. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And you fall and all this type of, you fall in other ways, and he's always there nurturing you along. And I think of myself when I was into alcohol and things like this, when I getting drunk and all this type of thing. I had what I call an ID crisis, and you tend to not know where you are before you become a Christian, and you just look for anybody you think it's a bit bubbly or got a bit of personality, you follow them, but you're not necessarily following the right way. You go on paths that are not going to do yourself any good. Then when I become a Christian, I suddenly, God opened my eyes that there are people out there trying to help you, mentors and all this type of thing, and got my life in order. And I think I could. I've done some terrible things, and I could see where all this could have led. I just praise God. He's got me a stable family and grandchildren. I think deep down we like to see. Saw this film once. This fellow was sitting back smoking his pipe. He heard his granddaughter singing. It was just a light was silhouetting through. And that moved me. That one. I said, that's really what you want to see. He sat back. He was satisfied, marrow to the bones. This is what the Christian faith gives you. Sure, you get difficulties along the way where people see you're Christian and all that, but you just got to keep to the narrow and straight, and give God the benefit of doubt, and give other people the benefit of doubt by turning the other cheek, as hard as it is on occasions. I just praise God that He's blessed me.
Well, certainly He has in this area of understanding numbers and what it's all about. You didn't discover the number 42, but you've come close to it, haven't you?
Yeah, well, there's an interesting thing. They call it the, I've got to think of the name again, it's a finite number that equals about, I put it there somewhere, sorry about this, but I think it equals about 137 or something like that, and it is on the sheet there. I can't recollect what it is right now, and it's a very important number, the grand finite constant. And I just realised where they use epsilon naught and speed of light, that actually 1 on epsilon naught mu naught equals c squared. But in actual fact, they're to do with the speeds that electromagnetic radiation goes in space. But they're actually equal to each other, and as a result, they cancel out, and you only actually get h squared on electron charge underneath. That's basically what this figure is, and it simplifies it down.
Well, we're going to come back to that. You're watching Support Life. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Gavin Baulch and my guest is Kevin Sayers. Kevin, we're in the home straight, as they say. There's not a great deal of difference between caveman and us. We're kind of equal. They did some wonderful things. Tie in the caveman and Archimedes.
Well, it's a hard concept for people to understand, where a constant of mass and time, you can juggle them around, but actually the thermodynamic laws are actually broken. And I don't think it's much different to primitive people or cavemen people, where they might 10 people lift this big stone up, and you come like me, Archimedes. I've got this levering system. I'm not talking about machine. I'm not talking about motorised equipment where you've got to put energy in and internal combustion engines, where you push this lever down, you've got, say, 20 times the advantage, you can lift the stone up. It'll blow them away. And that was a hard concept. And Archimedes even went to the stage, says, give me a fulcrum and I'll shift the whole world. And there's an element of truth in that. And so this is really a new concept. It's completely analogous to Archimedes. Force by distance is a constant where you can create matter out of nothing. That nothing is time, which we don't understand. There's time everywhere around us, but you can actually manipulate time. It's just amazing in itself, yeah.
So, here we have a God in his word who said he's the redeemer of time. Time seems to be compressed. We have a day is equal to 1,000 years, 1,000 years equals a day. What's going on there?
Well, I mean, God's infinite, as he knows our most innermost thoughts, and you've got the hairs of a head numbered. He's got, and we get over that, maybe 10, 20,000 hairs on his head, and he turns on his cheek and he says, I've got every star named. And God lives out of time. He's we think time just goes forward, and some people refer to it as like a circus parade going past. We're standing in front of it, just seeing it all parading, and God's over the top, seeing the whole lot thing. Like, I always thought when people took 9 months to come to Australia, they might have heard it was a disease. A lot of people are dying, and you say, well, yeah, those people, they hear it 9 months later when they get the news back, and I said they could be praying, even though the whole event is finished. Equally, it's just happening now, and God knows what's going to happen. So I think it's a good example where God knew they're going to pray, and he's already answered that prayer, even though they mightn't hear it for another 9 months. I think that's a simple way of looking at it.
So we have Doctor Who as a Time Lord, but probably the real Time Lord is who we see as Jesus Christ.
Yes, definitely.
And we're just in a TARDIS together.
Yeah.
Okay, life for you now. You're in the 10.
Thanks for that, Gavin.
That's all right. How do you feel about that?
Well, you get a different appreciation. It's like your grandchildren come up, you get a new focus, because you know you could see them standing off. You're not trying to get them up to school, bathe them and all that, and you get an enhanced different way of looking at them. You tend to look at all the different characters and their traits. It's a beautiful time to go through. Plus, the worst comes to the worst. Nappy time, you just hand them back to mum.
There is that, and something happens with age and time. There is a thing called wisdom, and it can be applied. Now, you're seeking these days to apply what you've learned here to help others understand formulas, science, even consider for a moment eternity. What about eternity?
Yeah, well, the scriptures say it's appointed the man to live, die, then judgment. It sounds rather coarse, but it comes to the crunch. We're all born, and we live a life, and God could kind of, we just pop up at heaven and say, oh, Gavin, you weren't too bad, or something like that. You took Jesus as your Saviour. So what are you talking about? This is a witness to ourselves forever, what we do here. An incredible type of thing. And so when we get up to heaven to be judged, let's just say we all go to heaven, because God said there's only one way, and that's through Christ, what he's done for us on the cross, and that, because our works was dirty rags in his sight, and only through Christ. I was amazed when there was a bit of a war going on, and these people knew Israel, God was blessing them, and these prostitutes and all that, they knew that God was working for Israel. And Rahab, I think it was, and they helped the Jews, the spies. And he said, can we be spared? We're helping you. We know God's on your side. He says, if you go stay in this room with a red flag, who's ever in that house will be spared. Who's ever in that house? What does that mean? Anybody believe what you say? The ark was sitting there for 3 days, completed. The ark, we talk about an ark like a covenant, an agreement. It's incredible. And yet God says, if you believe, people just marrying and drinking and all that, coming to the ark, they were saved. And this is what God's saying. A city of refuge where people could flee to, and they weren't allowed to be harmed, because sometimes certain things occurred or an accident were questionable, whereas a death sentence might have been an accident, and they could flee to that city as long as they're under protection. Christ is our covenant, and I think it's fantastic. I don't have to worry. All the worries, not how good I am, and he nurtures me if I make mistakes and all this type of thing. It's a beautiful thing, the Christian faith.
Yes. And I think for those listening too, when you look with eyes wide open, which was an expression, and I think a movie was made using that title, if we're willing, even when we're questioning deep questions, at least we're alive to the possibility of change, of new knowledge, of new understanding, and new purpose for life.
I think in intellect it can be very dangerous. It's a two-knife sword. You could realise what you know to what there is know is really nothing, but we can get so drunk in yourself where you believe everything you know, and there's a lot of terrible things that come from people being intellect. They say, I'm more intelligent, this race is inferior, let's wipe them out, and you get genocide and all this type of thing. And God kind of humbles you. Don't get drunk in your intellect, because it's nothing compared to what God is. And on top of it, you keep this humble attitude, you open up your mind a lot more to a better understanding of things.
Yes. So here we are concluding. We're asking one another to keep it simple, to be good neighbours, and to seek and understand the love of God. Thank you, Kevin, for your time.
Thanks for having me, Gavin.
You've been watching Support Life, and that's all for our program today. Join us again next week. Goodbye.